Welcome to Power Hour, where the editors of Power Sports Business interview the movers and shakers of the power sports industry.
Okay, hi everybody. Power Sports Business here with Jessica and Gunnar. These guys are with Brands That Shine. So, Jessica or Gunnar, can one of you tell us a bit about what you guys do with dealers and manufacturers? So, can you give us a little bit of insight?
Nope, that's you.
Okay. Basically, we're a manufacturer's rep firm with a heavy focus on marketing. We don't buy anything, we don't sell anything, we don't stock anything. We travel around the country and we train dealers on the brands that we're contracted with. We support the distributors. We're kind of an arm of the distributor rep because they do a great job, but they have huge catalogs to sell from and so many brands. So we just have a small, handful or two hands full that we can go in and help them and then tell them which catalogs they can buy from.
We basically bring focus to the brands that lack focus from their distribution partners because of the workload that those reps in that area have.
And we have some dealer direct, but we mostly have channels to distribute.
Yep.
Okay. So how did Brands That Shine get started, and when did you guys kind of connect as business partners?
It started with a lot of blood, sweat, and
Tears
from her. Yeah.
Almost literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 7 years, a little over 7 years ago, when I left the manufacturing side, one of my buyers of a very well-known company said, "Just don't go look for a job. You need to just build your own." And I was like, I'm thinking consulting. I'm like, oh, that's what everybody does when they lose their job, and then they go find another job. And I felt like it was not really a respectable thing. And he said, no, build a portfolio. So I did. I mean, he's not kidding. I had 3 jobs. We were talking last night. I drove Uber until 10 o'clock at night, and then I'd get up at 2 in the morning and go to work for UPS so I could keep benefits. And then around 8 or 9 in the morning, half the days of the week, I would go to a temp job. And so I averaged about 3 to 4 hours of sleep and eat per night for like the first 5 months. I don't know how I did that one. So that has grown, and then organically it has grown. Even through COVID, I've gained brands and gained some momentum. And Gunnar's story kind of goes way back. He has 25 years in distribution, and so I actually met him as his vendor many years ago and started annoying him back then.
Oh, yeah. From the first minute I was at the Cincinnati V-Twin Expo, tearing down my booth, trying to pack everything away, and here comes this 5-foot woman with a bunch of samples in the front of her sweatshirt and dumps them on me. Here, I have samples. You need to put this in your catalog.
I didn't want to take them home either.
And I'm like, I'm packing up this monstrosity of a booth, and you just dump a bunch of crap on me.
I remember that show. It was one of the last shows, I think, there. But you guys had a big booth, and the V-Twin show was pretty. I kind of missed that show, really.
Yeah. I'll do.
Yeah.
That's how we originally met, and I mean, professionally, we just became friends and had a mutual kind of respect for each other. He found that my annoying quality actually made me a very good vendor partner.
Yeah, she was persistent, and she
is
follow through. That was the thing that, as a product person at a distributor, you're constantly chasing your vendors for information, descriptions, you name it, weights and dims. And when I said, "Just this is what I need," boom, I got it.
Yeah. And I think on that level, we just, he was the guy, if I came into that town for that distributor, he's the one I called for dinner, beer, or whatever. And it was years later that we got together. This is fast forward. And then, the time had come for that role and that job where it just didn't make sense to stay there anymore. He had risen as far as he could rise, and then he actually demoted himself for a while. And it was just time for him to take on a new challenge, and it made sense for us to work together doing this. He has got a lot of knowledge that I don't have. I'm great on marketing and relationships and getting people what they need, but it's nice that he knows before we're even asked. So in about a year and a half, it was right before Sturgis of last year, that he gave his notice, and we announced our partnership, which blew the minds of some of our friends.
Yeah.
But it works out really well. We complement each other, and it's very nice when we have, like this morning, we had a potential very large strategic retail partner that he knew exactly what he was going to be asking for, and it was
Mm-hmm.
so I think it's a nice balance.
Yeah. You guys seem to now. You know, the interesting part is you guys go from not just being business partners and you know, boyfriend girlfriend, but you're living in, you know, you live in very close confines for a lot of time. Which,
how do you not kill each other?
Yeah.
how do you? I mean, that's what I want to know. I mean,
would kill me, or I'd get sick of my old lady. I'd leave her somewhere or something.
No, like each other, and
That helps.
we have the same interests, and I mean, there's
We went from living states away.
Yeah.
And I'd go visit him and he'd come visit me to, I mean, thank you, COVID. That was a big part of, I mean, we started just because we're building a house. So that's truly, we had bought dirt in Washington together. I was already living there, but I was living on my boat. And he says, well, you know, what do you think about building a house and a shop and offices and everything? You know, and originally it's just going to be his home office. It wasn't planning on being our business.
Yeah.
Cool. You know, will you be there? Yeah. So he says, well, you know, while we're building, we'll probably have to live in like a motorhome because we can't afford multiple rents and mortgages. And he's like, do you mind living in a motorhome? Well, I live on a boat, so sure.
I mean, it's actually probably bigger in the motorhome than the boat, right?
It spreads out, whereas our boat is, you know, the boat's longer, but it's not as wide. And so, yeah, February 9th, we took off. 2021, because this is our third year. And we've done all the building, the infrastructure. We literally bought dirt with trees. So we've got all the infrastructure.
Yeah.
So it does depend on heavily on commissions and income and things, because we don't want to have a mortgage when we're done. So we're willing to take as long as it needs to take.
So are you pretty consistently on the road? I mean, throughout the year?
We've been trying to do the math, and I think the maximum amount of time in one stretch that we spend parked on our dirt is probably 6 weeks. And
in 3 years.
The longest single stretch. I mean, if you add it all up, it might be 4 months total, or 5 in 3 years. Yeah. Maybe.
Wow.
We were gone 15 months. We never saw home.
Our first stretch was 15 months consistently on the road. We had 42 states covered at that point. And I don't know.
Do you have like we were talking about this a little earlier. You don't really have a plan. You just but do you have like, we're going to go east and then just cover along the east and then make our way back west, or go down south? Or is there any kind of,
it's weather dependent, fun. And then it's, we're here for Bike Week, for Daytona Bike Week. So we wanted to take 6 weeks to make the trek from Washington State to Florida, and we went to the Keys for Christmas. So we knew 6 weeks, so we chose the route down the West Coast and then the southern states. And on the way back, weather dependent, we'll try to go north as far as we can, as far as the weather will permit, probably South Carolina-ish, before we hook a left and go back west.
Yeah, go through Tennessee.
Last year, one of the tours was from Washington to Sturgis, and then Madison for Lamar, and then a loop farther south and back up. So it depends on what events we're trying to go to. We also follow the Moto America series for two of our brands, R&G and SBS. So some of our travel, because when we
try to hit those races. And
do you hit every race or most races? Oh, okay.
Zigzag. I feel bad.
Because that's the thing. I was going to say, they go 1 week, they're out west, then they're east, then they're,
So last year we were able to hit the Atlanta race following Daytona, but this year we want to be home before then, so we're going to miss that race. The next one won't be the Ridge. The Ridge, in our backyard, and then probably Laguna Seca after that, and then we'll see. Yeah. And we may fly to some races too. Yeah. It just depends. It depends on the support that the teams ask for. They're still finalizing a few things too. R&G is a title sponsor for the whole series, so I'm sure they'd love to have us at all the races. Yeah. Sometimes it's feasible, sometimes it's not. Yeah.
So explain a little bit about, so what do you do for like R&G and for some of these companies that you're, working with? What?
Yeah, we originally we could see the brands on the trailer, but I think we contracted with about 14 individual brands, but that's only about 10 companies because some of them have multiple lines. So it's not too much to handle. And we go into dealerships. We assess the dealer as soon as we walk in. Are they heavy on moto? Are they heavy on ATV and side-by-sides? Or Are we in a bike market? Are we in a farming community? Are they using their UTVs for farming? Or so we kind of assess that before we dive into our brands. And there's some that we can discuss at every shop, no matter what, because they're consumables like brake pads, like SBS. And
some of them are
very niche.
Very niche. They're either in the sport bikes segment or they're in the adventure touring segment.
And mind you, we also do marine, so we've got that.
Dabble in that.
But you don't do automotive.
No, some of our brands sell into automotive, like Wiseco, but still with their and Denali has Vision X in the automotive
as a parent company.
Yeah,
but that's not.
Gotcha.
So,
that's too big.
Yeah, and too big.
We use it to get to point A to point B or to haul stuff in the back of the pickup, but really motorcycles and power sports and boating and all that's our passion. That's
recreational, more or less, you know, the fun stuff.
Yeah, we go into these dealers, we assess what they sell, what they already have on the shelf, and then we pick the brands and the samples that we carry with us, and we show the samples, we give them the selling points. Mostly it's from existing brands, it's new products mostly that we push, or we do like Cruise Tools. It's a campaign.
Yeah.
They want us to place their
Most people
POP
know
displays.
Tools.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We offer the display program. We tell them what the advantages of the tools are.
We give them the top selling products for, if it's a Honda shop, they're going to have the metric ones. If it's a Harley shop, they've got Harley ones. They have Indian kits. So depending on where we are, we just give them a sheet with the top sellers for their customer, offer them a free display, take notes. And that's the other thing. That's where Gunnar is so good. Because when I started, I would take their business card as a parts manager, jot one or two things down, like a brand that I needed to follow up on. Gunnar has a template in his note on his iPhone, and he just copies a template for every brand, and then we go through. And you asked what we do. Some of them we manage the brands complete from distribution and introducing new product and marketing plans and sales campaigns. Some we just have an ambassador program for, and all we do is go into the dealer, ask them about certain brands relevant to them, get their feedback. Do they use them? Who do they buy from? What's distributor? That's one right now. Who's coming in?
Do they use the competitors' brands instead of the brand we're contracted with? And then we feed that information to them. And if they don't use the brand because they've had issues, and we don't have a rebuttal for it, we make that note too and give it to the manufacturer so they can have their product people or salespeople, whoever, call and say, hey, we heard you had a problem. Gunnar and Jessica were in. What was the issue? How can we resolve it? How can we get you to buy our brand again? So
or they've never heard of it. It's been sitting for a year and just nobody got around to bringing it up because they have so many other brands to talk about. So, but when we get back at the end of the day or the end of the week, we go through our visits. I log them in Salesforce, and then we fill out just opportunities on every single brand we talked about. And at the end of the month, we actually spit out a report to our manufacturers.
To each
so unlike like your influencer, you just go, here's $1,000 a product. I hope you talk about it. They can measure our success based on how many visits we had or how many calls or email campaigns I went through. So we definitely
so they've got almost like a little ROI thing there that they can go back and see what they're
control the content, right? We can't control if the dealer likes them or not, but they're gonna know. And that's one thing I think that sets us apart from pretty much.
And you guys visit a lot of dealers, right? So tell me about like the types of dealer. You do a lot of independent shops. You go to a lot of franchise. Is it just kind of run the gamut? Do you do more V-twin than?
Right. We've tried to do like, sorry, there's a motorcycle background.
That's good.
That just adds to the ambiance,
So we used to try really hard to do a franchise metric, a franchise Harley, an independent metric, an independent Harley, throw in a marine shop or some wild card during the day. So now we've noticed with a lot of the franchise dealers, they're owned by large groups, whether they be automotive or just a large group of power sports dealers. And sometimes going in the shop, as much as our clients love us going into all of them, it's not a valuable use of our time if it's a new vendor. If it's something they can buy in their established catalog, like a Parts Unlimited or Western or something, that's okay. It's just product knowledge at that point. But sometimes there's what they can sell or they only focus on OEM.
Because they have central buying for these big groups.
Oh, right. Some of these,
might make sense on paper, But if you have a dealership
in
in
California,
California and another one in Texas or
and they're
in
dictating
Florida,
what.
and they're dictating what they can sell, those are completely different markets in the power sports industry.
Right.
Like what people do with a side-by-side in California in the dunes
Oh.
and the sand
It's
is
totally
different
different.
than what they do in Louisiana where they're going mud bogging.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
So we've taken.
No, absolutely. That's true. I mean, so it would be hard to dictate that from one central
Yes.
So that's our
spot.
really, because the manufacturer doesn't always have time to go and establish these relationships and navigate through the waters. So I'll have hours and hours sitting in the office where, you know, if I don't already know them, I'm going through LinkedIn, I'm finding out who we know, getting introductions from partners. Usually I have somebody, I'm calling and asking for meetings for our brands. Hey, can we walk through our brands? Let's talk about what their demographic is. You tell me which stores you think they're best suited for. We'll put them on our map. So we work with that with kind of a top level down for the bigger franchise dealers.
Yeah.
And then on the road, we really focus on a lot of small independent, and we get a lot of good welcoming feedback from them because they're like, God, nobody comes to visit me. I'm not big enough. You know, I have an inside sales rep and nobody comes to see me. So we find everybody likes to be wanted, right? So it's
Right.
him a little bit when we go into Joe Schmo's motorcycle shop and he's like, wow, this is great. I'll sell all your stuff because nobody comes to visit me.
And you guys ride your motorcycles into most of these places, right? Because you've got your motorcycle trailer behind your motorhome. Plus do you keep product in there and, you know, stuff that you can take to samples and stuff?
Tour pack. And he keeps the tour pack with the samples mostly and some of the smaller brochures and all the stickers and whatever swag. And then I typically carry a few catalogs on either side of my saddlebags and then some more trinkets. And yeah, we have to load up before every day. We decide what kind of shops we're going to see and what's going to be most relevant. And they love that. It doesn't matter if they sell Vespa scooters or side-by-sides. They see two Harleys pull up and they're like, you actually...
Yeah.
Right.
Prius, even boat shops. They love that we come in with catalogs and samples to a boat shop on our motorcycles.
Oh yeah. Why not? I mean, it definitely is a memorable thing, even if it is a
There's
motorcycle shop.
credibility there too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Had some,
Yes.
you know, people, they see us and they're like, you rode your bikes from Washington? Like, yeah.
You should be like, yeah, we just got here.
Yeah, it's a conversation starter. You know, we tell them what we're doing, and that's usually what opens the door. If we came in with a polo with our sales rep, I mean, they may or may not listen, but they're used to that. No offense to every other vendor that travels with the reps, we do travel with them as well, but they're used to that. And you know, in the days of old, especially on the V2, well, on the metric side too, Larry Coleman used to. They, you know, the old guys that we look up to, they used to drive around in a van and go see shops, but they were actually writing orders. So they'd go in and buy them lunch, take them donuts, write orders.
Right.
Them hearing that we travel together and do the same thing and ride our motorcycles, we're kind of everybody's imagined dream. We have how hard it is, but it's the people go, man, I wish I could do that. So they tend to remember us.
Yeah.
Sure. So tell us a little bit about Daytona, about the bike week and your experience down there, because we don't have a lot of time left. I just want to get a little.
It was a heavy one. We were here a week before and actually jumped over to Ireland to meet a client. So we went straight into bike week, like the day of. Obviously, we met with Drag Specialties up at the dealership. They're one of our big partners. We had a reseller doing some camera installs for us for one of our brands. What do you feel like the flow of traffic was up there?
I don't know numbers. They probably haven't been released yet, but
No, they haven't. I've been looking.
It was busy at the racetrack as well as at Destination Daytona. It's not called that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do they call it now? Do they call it Destination?
It's Teddy Morris's Destination Daytona, and they have the J&P. And it was busy up there. We hit a bike show or two. The track it's been dwindling over the years. I feel like there were a few more vendors, or maybe they're spread out. I don't know.
I think they spread them out a little bit.
That's heavily OEM. They do a lot of test rides there.
And audio guys, installers are at the track.
I saw some installers because I watched a few videos. You know, I've been watching Bike Week from YouTube, I guess. Every day somebody posts, it seems like somebody posts something from, you know, Bike Week, you know, my YouTube, and it's like 15, 20 minutes. So I'll scroll through it. real quick just to see if there's anything.
Cousins from Revzilla and Cycle Gear, they have their semis, and then they'll have partner vendors out there. One of our partners wasn't doing, not installs, but usually a lot of people do installs or promote their product. So they have a big presence out there. Yep. But because we're so heavily involved in the racing, we were parked in the infield from Wednesday through the rest of bike week. Yep. I know it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it, Brendan.
Yeah. I'm like, that's not bad at all. But you're not still in the infield. You're parked out in a
town now.
Okay. Yeah.
Great. We did we had a quick meeting. So it was the second annual meeting, if you will, of the Independent Aftermarket Network. That's
okay.
Bob K. And it's really just focusing on the independent shops. Right now it's heavy V-twin, but Metric obviously very welcome. They have the same struggles the V-twin guys have. There's not a lot of mechanics out there. They can't shut down the shop to come to a lot of the shows.
Right.
Some of them are trying to retire and they just can't get out from under it. And then you've got some young people that are starting, in their garage. And of course, that's always a conflict. So it's about getting them to work together and kind of vetting the new guy and saying, hey, you started in your garage one time too. So why don't you work together? Right. Be a source for him to order parts from. And maybe this is the guy that's going to help you retire someday.
Yeah. You might be when time comes.
So it is a nice little group. It is still very small. I've got some brochures that we've gotten printed from the MRF that I can leave to dealers while we're out there. But that was nice to hear the struggles of the independent guy. Obviously, the EPA is a big one right now.
Yep.
I just hearing struggles. Kind of our presence at Daytona is really just getting a feel for what's going on. I mean, we're not selling, we're not working a truck, we're not doing installs, so it's just kind of networking.
Yeah.
And a little bit of branding
little branding, networking, and seeing what's going on. So you're basically our eyes and ears down there anyway, because I would have been down there, but it didn't quite work out. And it sounds like the event that I was going to go to was kind of didn't pan out as well as I'm glad I didn't go. So basically,
because you can see that we're sitting here in t-shirts and you're bundled up. So
it's I mean, we're actually it's pretty warm out here but we just had snow on Sunday, so it goes up and down like that. But yeah, I would have loved to have been down there. And I think the independent V-twin guys, I was just talking to somebody earlier today, and he's saying how a lot of the market is going back to, because the used market for the older Harleys is so strong, guys wanting to buy some of these old air-cooled, the old V-twin bikes, the old Sportsters and things, and there's a big, a burgeoning aftermarket for the V-twin segment. So, and it's always, I think the aftermarket's always been good on the V-twin side.
Yeah. When Harley's sales go down, the aftermarket usually thrives because people are not, when they're not buying new bikes, they're customizing the ones they have. So it's there's always
I think that's a lot of what's kind of going on right now, because look at these new bikes they're expensive. I mean, there's if you're over 50, or over 60 or whatever, buying you may be able to afford it, but some of the young guys that really want those bikes, they're gonna, the guy I was talking to today, I mean, he's like, the young guys are going back to what it was before, to where they're wrenching in their garage. They want to build their own, so. And that kind of goes along with some of what you're saying with some of the smaller shops, the guys starting out in their garage and, little small shops. You got to give these guys a chance, because they may be the next, juggernaut,
Yeah, we've seen a lot of that. So, and we try to spread that as we travel also, when we see some of the older guys, and we ask them, if there's somebody starting up down the street, we try to give them that perspective. Oh, he shouldn't be buying parts. Well, he can't buy parts. He literally can't. There's no distributor that's going to sell to him.
Right.
So maybe you could go give him a little, a buddy hookup.
Cost plus 10,
something like.
Yeah, right.
What bar and shield dealers used to do with the independent shops, and we've seen them go away from that. They'll say, I used to be able to buy from them, and he cut me off. And, a lot of times they're touching different bikes. They're going twin cam and older, and Harley really only touches M8 now. Huh?
Yeah, anything.
Yeah, a lot of those. Yeah.
which is ridiculous. But yes.
I mean, I talk to a lot of shops. They don't want to work on the old stuff anymore. I mean, Evos are even, they're like, nah, I might work on a few Evos, but I'm doing, they want to do all the new stuff.
Specialize in that.
Yeah, they only
there's
want
your franchise that does M8 and some twin cam, and then there's your independent shop that goes the easy route.
You won't do anything newer than it doesn't say head on it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got shops that specialize in anything that's Evo, shovel, pan, knuckle, and they have their market.
There's a place for all of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, Madelyn, do you have anything you want to add here before we wrap up?
I think we have enough time if you want to touch on a bit of the history of the motorcycling.
Okay. Well, I mean, like I said, we were talking earlier. I don't know the Harley market, not like you guys. So maybe you can kind of illuminate or tell me a little bit about maybe the history of some of the motorcycle clubs and where the clubs are now. I know, Gunnar, weren't you a patch member or something like that, a motorcycle club guy? I don't know the lingo, I'm not cool like that. I'm not cool like you, bro.
I was a member of the Booze Fighters, and they're labeled as the people who
they're famed with Hollister and the rebel mentality,
the riots in Hollister, and
gotcha,
and calling out the 1% of motorcycles.
The 1%ers, yeah.
That are outlaws, even though the Booze Fighters are not a 1%.
No, they're absolutely a family first club. They're just
okay, but they want to pretend like they're 1%er. Maybe.
No.
Oh.
It's just news confusing things again.
Yeah.
But a lot of clubs did come out around that time. I mean, there were a lot of clubs before World War II.
The World War II groups were basically your family riding groups that did their excursions on the weekends and met and did obstacle course riding and stuff like that. But when a lot of guys came home from World War II, they had no sense of belonging to anything. There was no brotherhood that they had in the war. And they found that in motorcycle clubs. And in the late 40s and 50s, the U.S. society was very stiff. And so rebelled that. And that's, I think, Wino Willie, the founder of the Booze Fighters, says, I live my life the way I live it, not the way you think I should.
Right.
So,
not with the white picket fence and the 2.3 kids and,
similar with your Sonny Varger and the Hells Angels. And, it's a similar thing. They just wanted a brotherhood. They didn't want to conform to society.
Rules,
and there are a lot of different clubs. There's a commonality with all of them, whether they get along or not. There is a commonality. And that's most of them want to be left alone. There's still, outlaw clubs, the 1% clubs are still alive and well and actually are very good for business. And a lot of independent shops are owned by them. So they are contributing members of society. But there's military riding groups that have nothing to do with them because they formed their own more AMA compliant, if you will. Each military has one. They have, some that are not defined like 3-piece patch clubs. They're just riding groups. There's women's clubs, there's regional clubs, there's Christian clubs, there's gay and lesbian and all the terminology that goes with
right.
club. So
plus the hog chapters, if you look at the
groups,
Harley's own marketing machine.
Right.
I think it's just generally people want to belong to something. There's metric riders have a lot of groups as well.
Yeah.
There's some sanctioned sport bikes.
Yeah, I think so. And you see a lot in off-road stuff. I belong, I wouldn't say I belong, but I follow a Facebook group, Ohio motorcycle riders, like dual sport off-road riders. And, it's like, hey, what kind of trip, guys will be like, hey, I'm going to go ride here, there this weekend. Anyone want to go along? And it's more like just, it's that common interest in the trails and different things to do, and having people that are like yourself, right, that want to belong. I guess that's kind of the main thing. Everyone's looking for that, little book club.
Go different ways than others, and but I feel like lumping them all into the same group probably. They're not.
They're not. And that's the thing. I think even within like the V-twin community, like you said, there's so many different factions of groups but for things like Bike Week, you probably see a lot of different people come together,
we as we travel around, we park at the Elks Lodge and the Moose Lodge, right? They have their own riding groups. They have moose riders and they have
wow.
friends and yeah. So I mean, it's really just groups of people, and just like different churches and different racquetball and golf teams. I don't know. I guess
right. Oh yeah. I mean, that's it. There's soccer club. People join soccer teams and softball leagues and all that stuff. So
yeah,
it's common interests that bring people together.
I'm in a sailing club, and they are more hardcore than some of our.
Oh God, I can imagine.
That's awesome.
Do you have to wear like an ascot and like one of those Gilligan hats or something?
Those and the blazer, because the Seattle
right.
One of the more pristine and the top 14 or Grand 14, if you will. I'm not a member of that club, but I was on one of the hosting boats, and I was required to wear this outfit. Yeah, they get fancy.
So, do you know? Are you a good sailor? Are you an experienced sailor?
Find that out this summer, because as you asked, if we want to know what our trail is going to be, we're going to head home in May-ish. We're finally going to be home. We're going to do a couple trips. We're going to do a couple shows, a couple of Moto America events. I think we decided about mid-July, when everybody is out riding and boating and doing and in the shops. That's time for us to not be there. We've been there the last 3 years. We decided that us being there training the parts counter while all the other people are buying parts is not a good idea.
Nope.
And we miss being home. So we're going to go sailing this summer.
That's awesome.
All no unforeseen circumstances. We will be working from our boat from mid-July all through August, and still providing all the support. Still emailing the dealers, getting their feedback on products, but at their convenience, calling them with anything that we need to get out of them. I think we mentioned earlier we did start a dealer-focused YouTube channel.
So okay.
This is something that we're not doing product reviews. There's a lot of people that do that. This isn't for consumers to decide if they want to buy a product. This is all the information that we leave in the shops.
Yeah, we'll do the
okay.
parts counter, but we'll do it on a video, and then we'll the video to our dealer network.
Yep.
And when they're sitting on the shitter in the morning, they can watch the video.
I don't think
basically.
you can say that.
Absolutely. Hey, no, we're not sanctioned. This is YouTube. You can say shit. When
Gunnar will start getting into one small technical aspect to a product, or even just recluse is an easy one. Everyone knows there's an auto clutch. Not a lot of people realize there's the torque driven clutch. So he'll take 30 seconds to explain it, and that's when we get them, and they're like, "Whoa, tell me more." So we can record that, whether we're or whether we use an actual dealer interface. Brake pads, they're not super sexy. They're required. We like to stop. We like to go. We like to stop again. When we start addressing, I heard about this thing, and when we tell them the details, why they have the new compound and what it means and why it's going to save them money and this and that. I mean, again, it's probably 30 to 90 seconds where they
grabs their attention.
Stuff they care about, not the end user. So
plus it helps them, having that knowledge there on the parts counter and with their customer helps them to, obviously to sell that product and to have some kind of authority on that topic and product.
Help sheet, but that's not sexy. I mean,
yeah.
Whereas we're basically going to be a live sell sheet. They know us. They've seen us in their shops. We've met them at NDP or AIM Expo or one of the previous distributor shows that used to happen. So it's like, oh, hey, what are these crazy kids up to? Okay, you're 60 seconds. Thing I didn't know about. And we found that finally to be a good idea.
Yeah.
We saw a dealer when we were in Ohio last year, and we walked into the shop, and he's like, "Oh, did you bring Moby? Because they follow our social media."
Right.
I mean, so.
And we're like, it's December in Ohio.
We
don't have snow chains, so no, we didn't.
Yeah, no, you don't want to do. Yeah, no. This winter is okay, but last winter not so good.
Yeah, but so that's our dealer focused YouTube channel is what we'll be working on when we're not on the road, or even when we're on the road. He's going to start loading a bunch of content that we've already filmed more than what Madelyn's already seen our intro.
That was a practice video.
That was a practice video. But
it was great.
Related ones and recaps from MVP, and we'll talk about a little bit. We have a little bit from Bike Week. We'll interview some of our riders that'll breaking and racing, things like that. That way, when we're not in Michigan or Minnesota, we're still giving them that personalized content.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah. I mean, that's that's the beauty of the world we live in today, I guess, is we can have these conversations. We don't have to be right there. We can do it over the magic of the internet, and yeah. So, what's that?
We don't even have to wear pants.
No one would
You don't. I mean, who's wearing pants? Nobody wears pants anymore. You guys wear shorts, so I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Madelyn, unless you have I want to thank you guys for coming and joining us today. It's really great catching up, and we love hearing about your journey and all the crazy things you guys do and adventures you have on the road, and just I mean, you guys are living the dream. It looks like, from our perspective. So keep it up, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Bye, guys.
So you guys have a good one. Bye. If you like this podcast, please like, share, and subscribe. We also invite you to connect with us on powersportsbusiness.com.